Some people think micro carry guns like the Glock 43 and M&P Shield are pointless, especially when they can carry Glock 17 and M&P 9s with absolute ease under their Magellan fishing shirts and cargo pants. However, when your go-to attire is an overpriced rag and bone t-shirt and double RL jeans, you beg for guns like the Glock 43 and M&P Shield. When Smith & Wesson dropped the M&P Shield, it was like Apple released another iPhone. Then the Springfield XDS came out, but it was in 45 ACP, so largely no one cared, except diehard Springfield fans and people who believe 45 ACP was crafted by God himself. Then Glock released the Glock 43, expecting everyone to swarm after it like a pack of rabid dogs, but they didn't. At least not everyone. Glock was slow to action in releasing the Glock 43. This left a ton of people with no other option but to buy the Shield, and live with the Shield undistracted. Unfortunately for Glock, the Shield turned out to be an excellent gun, which resulted in a lot of people giving the Glock 43 the side eye. I never call a Glock beautiful, but next to the Shield, I think it's the better looking gun. The Shield isn't a bad looking gun, I just feel the busy styling of the Shield overwhelms its small size. Smith & Wesson took the exact same styling from the bigger M&P pistols. This tactical cut and paste job ends up making the Shield look like a poorly resized Instagram picture. Glock did the same thing with the 43, but Glocks have always had this minimalist approach to styling, so the style translates well between different size platforms. There's also something about the 43's proportions that make the gun less awkward looking than its bigger size Glock counterparts. When it comes to ergonomics, each gun takes a different approach. The Glock 43 went the rugged utilitarian route with its miniature square grip texture, and the Shield stuck with its plush, comfort-focused granulated material texture. When your hands are dry, they both work fine. However, when your hands start to sweat, both textures are inconsequential. Good thing both guns are naturally easy to hold on to. The Glock sits low in your hand, where the Shield feels a bit top-heavy. However, the Shield has a wider grip from trigger to backstrap and longer grip overall, so there's naturally more to hold on to. In short, the Shield is the fitness model when she's not competing, and the Glock 43 is the fitness model in full competition mode. Personally, I'm torn. Not between two fitness models, but between which gun I think is better ergonomically. The Shield feels better in hand, but I love the high bore access you get with the Glock. I tend to like my triggers like I like my wine. I want a smooth initial impression, the take-up, a solid evolution, the wall, and relatively light crisp finish, the break. Then follow it up with a nice tactile and audible reset. Recently, I've learned that the importance of a definitive reset has been oversold, but that's for another video. The Glock 43's trigger has a rather mushy take-up. Has a solid wall, but it's not very clean. It still gives just a bit, but the break is extremely clean and loud. Glock has the Glock 43's trigger pull weight listed at 5.5 pounds, but it feels heavier. The Shield has a slightly crunchy take-up due to the two-piece trigger posing as a safety feature. The wall is solid and more defined than a Glock 43, but the break is teetering on being a little hollow. As far as the reset, what reset? Ironically, Smith & Wesson has the Shield's trigger pull weight at 6.5 pounds, but it feels lighter than a Glock 43's trigger. The Shield's trigger is slightly cleaner than a Glock 43 and easier to stage. That being said, I'm going with the Shield trigger because I'm forced to pick one, though I could easily live happily with either one of these triggers, because they're both essentially decent. As far as features go, both guns are pretty standard, though I can't stand the Glock Sights. I hate stock Glock Sights so much, I would personally walk them over to the depths of hell and throw them over. The safety on the Shield is a point of contention for some. For me, they're like chopsticks. They're there, I don't really know how to use them, so I just ignore them. Could I accidentally engage the safety? Yeah, and I could also meet Angela Simmons and she could fall madly in love with me. But the odds are so low it's easy to ignore them. They both have chamber indicators. The Glock 43's indicator is visual and tactile, while the Shield's is only visual. When it comes to capacity, straight out of the box, the Shield wins this hands down. It comes with a flush magazine carrying 7 rounds and an extended magazine carrying 8. At this point, we could shut this whole thing down and call the Shield the better gun based on capacity alone. At least the way I see it. Out of the box, the Glock 43 comes with a 6-round flush magazine and 7-round extended magazine. Like I said in my review of the Glock 43, that's unacceptable. However, when fitted with Terran Tactical +1 and +2 base plates, the Glock gets back in the fight with a vengeance. I know comparing a stock M&P Shield to a Glock 43 with extended base plates is totally unfair, but hear me out for a second. For anyone looking at these micro carry guns, the most important factors are reliability, shootability, and conceal ability. In that order. Let's work our way from the back, starting with conceal ability. If you don't care about printing or you open carry, you might as well skip this part. But for people like me who go to extra lengths to hide the fact that they're carrying a gun, every inch and centimeter matters, especially when we're talking about grip length. So to put it frank, a Glock 43 fitted with a +1 Terran Tactical base plate compared to the Shield fitted with a flush magazine, the Glock is noticeably shorter. Drop the +2 base plate in the Glock 43 and it's nearly the same size as the Shield with the flush magazine. Drop the extended magazine into the Shield and well, you see what I'm getting at. So when it comes to size and concealability, the Glock 43 fitted with Terran Tactical base plates is smaller than the Shield in every way that counts, with the same amount in capacity. Shooting small guns is generally a chore, but damn it, these two guns are a joy to shoot. We've reached a new era where small guns now shoot way bigger than they are. After spending a considerable amount of time with each of these guns, one thing is clear. Both of these guns are shooters. These guns are not supposed to be fun to shoot. They're purpose-driven guns that fill a role in your carry gun rotation. But I found myself wanting to shoot them over and over again. Between the two, the Shield is the softer shooting gun, but both guns do an exceptional job handling the recoil, considering their size. To me, the difference in recoil is marginal, but the Glock 43 has slightly more recoil than the Shield. Flat out, I am more accurate with the Shield at distance than I am with the Glock, and it has everything to do with the damn sights. The stock Glock sights confuse my eyes from time to time, making me less accurate than I would be with the 3-dot setup on the Shield. However, make no mistake, you can shoot both guns accurately out the distance. With the 3-dot setup, I feel I would shoot the Glock just as well at distance, but I would still give the edge to the Shield. And here's the weird thing, when it comes to instinctive shooting, I'm better with the Glock. In my hands, the Glock felt more at home while moving and shooting. The Shield started feeling a little top heavy, where the Glock's high bore access felt much better in my hand during instinctive shooting on the move. Don't get me wrong, the Shield handled this just fine, but the Glock is like taking a turn at speed in a Ferrari 599 versus a Mercedes S-Class coupe. They're both high performance cars, one is just better suited for taking turns. In my review of the Glock 43, I ended the video conflicted about which gun goes with me when I leave the house. The Glock 43 or the Shield. Let me start by saying this. If you're new to guns and you don't own an M&P or a Glock, the Shield is the better gun out of the box. Currently it's cheaper, holds more rounds, has less felt recoil, and feels great in hand and shoots like a bigger gun. But the gun that leaves with me when I leave the house is the Glock 43. Replacing the stock sights, adding extended magazines, and if you must, improving the trigger, makes the Glock, in my book, the better gun to me. If price were a big issue, I would go with the Shield. But I feel the extra money spent on the Glock 43 to increase its capacity to improve the sights is worth making it the gun that it becomes after these upgrades. My go-to carry gun is the Glock 26, and the Glock 43 is the Glock 26 cut in half. So those times when I need a thinner gun to conceal, the Glock 43 fits the bill perfectly. With these improvements, the Glock 43 is smaller than the Shield, and I can shoot the Glock 43 as good or better than the Shield at distance with different sights. You can't go wrong with either one of these guns. I've had a stoppage with both of these guns at some point, so neither one is perfect in terms of reliability, but I don't believe any gun is perfectly reliable. However, I trust each of these guns with my life, and in the end, that's all that matters. On the surface, The Pew Pew life is a homage to our days as children playing cops and robbers, when our guns were nothing more than a raised thumb, an outstretched middle and index finger, and the pew pew sounds coming from our cookie crumb covered mouths. Below the surface, the Pew Pew life represents a people who take the symbolic and literal representation of gun ownership very seriously. It represents a source of protection for ourselves, our families, and the people we love. Guns also provide a sense of enjoyment and fun to our lives, and for this, we make no apologies. Symbolically, the gun is a beacon of freedom and natural rights, because there is no more natural right than the right of self-preservation. One who cannot exercise this right cannot call himself free. This is why we embrace the Pew Pew life, because ultimately, it's about the people. I want to thank everybody who went out and supported the initial release of the Black Pew Pew Life t-shirt. I had every intention on releasing the hat that you see on my head here today. Unfortunately, due to some logistical issues, I had to put that on hold temporarily. I will be coming out with these, just not now. So in the meantime, what I decided to do was to come out with these shirts in different colors. And to make up for not releasing the hats, I'm gonna bring out the black shirt again as well. They're gonna come in men and women's styles, as well as the long sleeve version of the shirt too. So be sure to hit the link in the description box and pick up your Pew Pew Life shirt today. Remember, it's only for a limited time only. This ends on June 28th. After that, you're out of luck. Pew, pew. Yeah, I just did that.